DC's die-hard fans are tired of the realistic Batman in the movies and want something more fantastical, like the comics and animations. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. When thinking of superheroes, action movies are usually the first thing that comes to mind. But not all of them stick to just that, especially when it comes to Batman. In the DC universe, he often leans into a more fantastical side, bringing in real fights and stepping away from the super-realistic style that many adaptations have gotten used to. The general public has gotten used to a more serious, even somewhat monotonous image of Batman, making it rare to see him like he is in the comics or animated universe. But could that change anytime soon? With DC's new direction, there's hope that James Gunn will bring adaptations that feel more true to what fans are eager to see. When superhero comics started making their way to the big screen, a lot shifted in the scene. Over the years, fans have witnessed numerous changes with many characters, often influenced by the direction of the films or the decisions made by producers and screenwriters. A prime example of this is Watchmen, which took a different approach than many expected. However, discussing the classic Batman is a bit more complicated. In films that have become iconic, like Christian Bale's The Dark Knight trilogy and Robert Pattinson's The Batman, audiences have seen a version of the hero that feels super real. While these takes have been interesting, fans are now craving something a little different. It feels like people are starting to get tired of watching the same version of Batman, one that has remained largely unchanged since the 2000s. With a new generation of fans emerging, maybe it's time for a fresh take. This conversation is already buzzing on social media, especially following James Gunn's announcement about the new phase of the DCU. When Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, directed by Zack Snyder, hit theaters, fans could get a taste of something different, especially with the intense fight scene in the warehouse. However, many viewers are eager to see the superhero taken to an even greater level, similar to his portrayal in the DCAU. When thinking about it, this aesthetic and more realistic tone that has become so familiar might have been a strategy to attract a broader audience, those who enjoy blockbuster hero films but aren't necessarily fans of the genre itself. It's almost like trying to fit Batman into a box to ensure commercial success. Whether it's in superhero movies or any adapted film, people want authenticity and loyalty to the source material. Gunn appears to be aware of this demand and has already hinted at what's in store for the new phase of the DCU. Maybe the audience's wishes will finally come true. In 2022, the CEO of DC Studios answered a fan's question online about the iconic character. Following Snyder's film, Batman made a return with Pattinson, but that production was separate from the main universe, similar to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. However, according to Gunn, Batman will play a significant role moving forward. Narratively, Gunn appears to be heading in the right direction. To attain the consistency and success that the MCU has achieved, for example, he'll need to take on a supervisory role like Kevin Feige's, closely overseeing each project to ensure a cohesive vision. This approach would allow for a deeper exploration of Batman's dynamics with other heroes, particularly within the Justice League context. Gunn has also promised to create a universe with connections between films, series, animations, and even video games. With these developments, it's safe to say that there are real hopes for a superhero portrayed in a more fantastical setting. It's important to note that Matt Reeves' The Batman Part 2 is in the works, and the director has hinted that the sequel will also have fantastical elements, though not completely detached from reality. However, this could offer a fresh opportunity for those who are open to exploring a different take on the hero's story. Fan-favorite cast for Batman Part: Jensen Ackles would have been a good fit if it wasn't for James Gunn's choice of younger actors for DCU roles. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Casting for Batman is not an easy task, especially for an iconic legacy character, and this is why it is taking ages for James Gunn to find the right actor for the job. Interestingly, fans already have their bet for the role and have been campaigning hard and suggesting it to the head of DC Studios. Some of the past actors who have donned the cape were Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, and Robert Pattinson, among others. There's been a handful of names being thrown across the room for the potential next Batman star, but as to who will snag the coveted role remains the mystery. With the revamp of the former DCU empire into James Gunn's DC universe, the entire legacy of the major flagship characters will also be renewed. Superman will have a younger actor in his early 30s, with David Corenswet taking on the mantle of the Man of Steel. If that's the case, Will Batman be around the same age? The DC boss clarified on Threads the issue about Bruce Wayne's age in the upcoming The Brave and the Bold. A fan asked Gunn if Wayne would be a couple of years older than Clark Kent, and his response was, "What I said was Bruce could be a couple years older than Clark. All I meant was I wasn't tied to Bruce and Clark being the exact same age. For now, Batman may be around in his early to mid-30s based on Gunn's statement, which also means he might be looking for actors in the same age bracket. Superman being the same age as Corenswet is the basis for this. Now, fans should consider this when fan-casting their favorite actors for the role to avoid disappointment. On Twitter, a poll asked who the best Batman fan-cast actor is, Zack Snyder's Justice Supernatural gave rise to an epic romance that broke every rule of the long-established universe of DC heroes. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Zack Snyder's Justice League might be the only superhero film to be embroiled in endless controversy despite being one of the best cinematic expressions of creativity. The DC Extended Universe movie not only had drive but enough passion to deliver a gut punch through its complex retelling of familiar superheroes with their oversaturated origin stories. The filmmaker dared to turn the genre on its head and delve into an alternate universe where the lines of good and evil are a bit more blurry and morality is a bit more questionable. More so, Snyder showed his audience the grim dark reality of what happens when truth, justice, and the American way just don't work against corruption anymore. Heroes need to bend their honor and stoic laws of ethics and fight fire with fire to take the villains down. Zack Snyder's Superman did not die a graceful death. Instead, it was messy, brutal, and unworthy of such a valorous hero. In the aftermath of his passing, Bruce Wayne was brought back from his dark and vengeful path by Lois Lane, and a romance blossomed between the two. The foreshadowing of Lois' pregnancy in Justice League was the result of her relationship with Bruce. Ridden by guilt and the alien threat of Darkseid, Bruce traversed the highs and lows and far corners of the world to unite the heroes of the Justice League and resurrect Superman, leaving Lois, and never uttering a word about their time together. In the battle that followed in the unmade Justice League films, Batman failed to protect Lois, making Superman fall under Darkseid's influence and giving rise to the Nightmare timeline. To prevent such a fate, Flash travels back in time and warns Bruce about Lois being the key to winning the war. In the reoriented reality, Bruce dies to protect the woman he had come to love. In an interview with Vanity Fair, Snyder revealed the storyline so shocking that even the studio swerved their heads and collectively said no. The intention was that Bruce fell in love with Lois and then realized that the only way to save the world was to bring Superman back to life. So he had this insane conflict, because Lois, of course, was still in love with Superman. We had this beautiful speech where Bruce said to Alfred, "I never had a life outside the cave. I never imagined a world for me beyond this. But this woman makes me think that if I can get this group of gods together, then my job is done. I can quit. I can stop." And of course that doesn't work out for him. 20 years later, Clark and Lois bring Bruce Kent to Gotham, introducing him to the world that Batman left behind, as he takes in the mantle of the Dark Knight in a city that had gone on too long without its silent protector. Through his Justice League trilogy, Zack Snyder has achieved stratospheric levels of infamy and is either completely idolized or utterly